Hey, I'm Jay, and I've got something to say about travel. I actually have a little travel update for once. So we went to the Omni Bedford Springs for a little weekend trip, celebrating our anniversary. And Omnis tend to be historic locations. So I didn't know a lot about it other than it was an expensive, kind of getaway location. So we have another one kind of down that direction called Nemacolin, which is mostly started as a golf course, and they had like some townhouses and hotels, and then part of the hotel burnt down and they rebuilt it really fancy. So they go for like at least $600 a night. Because we're not in peak season, April is hit or miss. It could be 80 degrees, it could be 40 degrees. And we were somewhere in the middle. We were like 40 to 70 the whole time, so it was chilly and windy, a little bit of rain. So we didn't get to do a lot of the outdoor activities. But we used my wife's Cap1 travel portal bonus. So she had an elevated promotion. It was 75,000 points and $250 travel portal credit. So it was like $960 minus the $250. It was like, and then their travel portal is only 1 cent per point, unlike Chase's. So it was like 60,000 points. We had like 25,000 left over, 22,000 left over, after spend and sign up bonus. I'm seeing that I have a lot of sun in my face. Probably makes it look weird. Basically what I would value as about $600 worth of points, because we could have also used that as statement credit, and that's actually what we did. So you get 10x on spend through the travel portal, 5x or 10x on spend through the travel portal. So we paid cash at the travel portal, and then with that credit card, and then got statement credit back for the $660 points, or whatever that was. So that was another like 10% points back, basically, by doing it as a statement credit, which I see a lot of people online doing that, right? So if I would have booked it through the portal, I would have used up points and not earned any points. So probably got like 600 points back off of that. Off of that 60,000. So, little background information about Bedford Springs. So they built their first hotel. They have 6 sections of rooms. 6 sections of rooms. They built the first one in like 1802. They built the next 2 in like the 1890s. And then refurbished some stuff and connected them and built the like main office, like check-in building, in like shortly after that, like 1902. And then it was a pretty popular spot in the Victorians. And then I found out from somebody that's more familiar with the area that it was kind of defunct in the 80s and 90s. So it's just run down. So Omni came in and bought it and rehabilitated it. Really nice golf course there. I don't golf, but that's kind of the it's like was a medicinal, like natural spring water kind of place. So that's kind of the thing, is the golf and spa. So even their swimming pool that's not on the spa side, they have a pool for all the regular guests. And then if you do the spa package or a day pass to the spa, they have an adults only pool and whirlpool that's inside of the spa area. So, but even the regular pool, water is sourced from a mineral spring. It sounds like they're pretty high in magnesium and probably some other stuff, iron. They all have names. Like there's the mineral spring, the magnesium spring, the chalcedonian spring, the black iron spring, but it sounds like they all have similar chemical makeup. similar mineral content, even though they have different names like that. And they have a walking trail, so you can go and visit most of them. I think there's like 7, and there's 3 that are very easily reachable, like from the front door. And then if you're willing to walk a little bit, you can go visit like 3 more, just by walking down the walking bike path. So interesting history there. Being 200 years old, none of the floors are level, nothing's straight. Nothing feels like it's going to fall apart. Nothing's rickety. It did look like single pane glass, so maybe winter the hallways might be a little chilly. Like you might have some condensation. The only thing I was surprised at, and it might just be because of the weather, a lot of the carpets look pretty dirty. Like they needed steam cleaned, vacuum scrubbed. So not like worn down and like old needed thrown away or like haven't been replaced in a while, just like people tracked in mud. And they do have a lot of outdoor activities. You can rent ATVs, go for hikes. It was rainy that weekend, so maybe even if they like carpet scrub them once a month, maybe we just hit a bad week for that. Food was good, a little expensive because there's not a lot else there. The stuff in town in Bedford, it looks nice, but it's a lot of like drinks and food, right? It's either like pub appetizers or handhelds or tapas and drinks for the nicer places. We also, Google Maps shows that there's a whole bunch of different stores. There's a huge consignment mall. When I say mall, it's a 2-story storefront, but it's very large storefront. So it looks like an antiques mall, but it's not just antiques. Like the top floor is like new stuff. So there's like a pet store stall, and all the items have a vendor number on them, so that when you check out, they know who to like attribute it to. But it's not like a farmer's market where there's a person at every stall, but all of the items have a vendor associated with them. So like you could go there and you could be like, hey, I'd like a wall, or I'd like 3 walls, and go like rent a stall and sell your stuff, consign your stuff. I'm sure there's a monthly fee for that, plus like a percentage of what you sell. I didn't ask, I don't know that, I just assume. And then the basement's like antique store, thrift store stuff. Lots of glassware. It was funny. There's some people that put black lights up on like green uranium glass, but then it didn't glow, so it was like fake. Like you could tell who had the fake uranium glass and who had the real uranium glass, because they put black lights on it whether it was real or not. So there's like black lights over green glass that doesn't glow under the black light, which I thought was kind of funny. But like old toys, vintage toys, and stuff like that. There was one place that was really cool that had army uniforms and uniform hats and stuff, and like affordable, like $30 for a uniform. I'm sure brand new an army uniform has to cost $200. Like you can't, like those things aren't made cheap. So it was like army surplus prices, so that was kind of neat. Don't know where they got all the stuff from. Personal collection that they wanted to offload or whatever. Big record collection in one place. One vendor down in the used vintage stuff. Huge record collection. I don't know enough about records to know what's a good deal or not. They had a $5 bin. I don't know if that's good or not. I don't know if, it depends on what it is. Like if some records should be $1 or some, or like, I just don't know. But that was kind of neat. A lot of the kind of stores that like are nice to look at, but you don't really want to buy anything. They're like, oh, this is neat stuff you don't see everywhere, but I have no use for it because it's just like kitschy clutter. We bought some fancy olive oil at the one place because the owner was real nice and like showed my daughter all the puzzles and stuff. We weren't going to spend $25 on a puzzle. But we bought a bottle of garlic olive oil. What else? So we had dinner in the dining room. That's not the steakhouse. That's not the Tally Ho, is it? The Frontier Lounge. We had dinner at the Frontier Lounge. They have a like 1792 steakhouse or 1768 steakhouse or something like that. Is the really expensive one, and then a Crystal Room is the other expensive ballroom. So, and then we had high tea at the Crystal Room, which was better than I expected, but like even the sandwiches were sweet. Like there was cranberry jam on the chicken salad, there was apricot jam on a brie toast, and then there was a roast beef sandwich. So like I can see a lot of people not wanting a roast beef and horseradish sandwich, and then everything else was sweet. And even the roast beef and horseradish sandwich had a very white bread, light bread, very sweet bread. It wasn't like a sourdough or anything, or whole wheat or baguette. It was like Pullman bread. So everything was real sweet. It was real good. Yeah, all the prepared foods were real good. The chocolates, they had some chocolates on the tray that were questionable flavors. Like they had like a Christmas spiced candy cookie. It was like dates and ginger and allspice and cinnamon, and it was a little weird. But overall, the food was real good. We tried to have brunch at the golf course clubhouse because they advertised that they did breakfast, and there was breakfast on the kids menu, and the waitress was like, no, we don't have breakfast food. So I guess they dropped that at some point and never updated their online menu and menus for brunch. So if we did that again, we probably would have done the Crystal Room for brunch again, maybe, or gone into town to get brunch. But overall, a nice experience. I think if I were to do it again, I'd probably book the spa rooms that were built in 2007, that whole wing, just because some of the historic rooms have a really long walk. If my daughter were to book it again, my 4-year-old daughter, we would make sure that we specified that we wanted a porch room. I didn't know what I was looking for. I think the travel portal had hillside view or resort view, and I thought, resort view is going to be the parking lot, and that wasn't the case. So they don't really have a parking lot. It's valet only. All the parking's way up on the top of the hill, so you overlook a lawn, and a walk, and across the street's a walking trail to go visit the natural springs. So lots of different types of rooms, lots of different pricing, but all maybe within $30 of each other, so not that big of a deal. So I would have specified a porch room which has like a walkout balcony, all connected. So every floor has like a connected balcony porch across the whole floor, on the front side, and then the back side has no balconies, no porches, because it's a pretty steep hillside. And you might have a view of a walking path, you might just have a view of dirt out the backside, depending on how far down and how high up you are, where you line up with the trail. So I would definitely, if you're going to go to Bedford Springs, either get a porch room with a resort view, or get a spa. I don't think there were balconies on the spa, but newer rooms, because 2007. So our shower and our hand washing sink didn't drain real fast. Didn't have any other problems. Like the toilet flushed fine, the stuff drained fast. The stuff drained fine, it just didn't drain quickly. So you'd fill up the sink a little bit, and then it would drain out when you were done washing your hands. And again, the floors were a little crooked. Carpets could have been cleaned a little bit better, but no serious complaints. We went one time to the Summit Inn, which is another historic, used to be a big summer place. They have an indoor and outdoor pool, all the Adirondack chairs around the pool or whatever. And it's big for the changing, the leaves changing. And they were just stink bugs and ladybugs just all over the place. Same thing. It was like old. Everything smelled musty because it was like they didn't open the rooms until busy season, and they didn't have a chance to air out, which is weird because it was like the end, right? You'd think they'd be open in the summer, air out, and then in the fall, like it'd be like springtime when they opened, that it'd be musty. But it was musty. It was not a pleasant experience. And again, there's only like 2 places to eat. So out of those two, out of Summit Inn and Bedford Springs, I would go to Bedford Springs. I haven't stayed at Nemacolin in the past decade, so I don't really know what that's like. What else? So use Capital One's travel portal for that to use a $250 credit. So I calculate that we got, saying that I spent 60,000 points on $900 worth of stuff, and they gave us a drink voucher. We ended up using it on a coffee. I forgot to bring it with me when I would have had an adult beverage, so we ended up using that on a coffee. They give you a drink voucher with Omni Select, which is their partner program. It's free to sign up, and I think they give you $20 back on every 100 you spend, like outside of the booking. So anything you spend, like if you charge it to the room, if you spend the spa, the meals, even the gift shop, anything you spend there, they give you like 20% back, 10 or 20% back as credit for like your next trip. So I'll have to check my wife's account and see if that applied correctly, if I got that right. I might have the details a little wrong. Like, I hope we didn't like miss out by not using the credits while we were there. I don't think that's the case. I think they're attached to your account. So we might have, $40 of $50 of Omni credit in my wife's account now. It's like, instead of points, it's literally just dollars back. It's dollars back on like spend outside of booking. I don't know that I'd do it again. Like I'm trying to not be booking like Holiday Inns and Comfort Suites all the time anymore. Now that I have points that I can use for stuff like that, I'm just trying not to book like step up from budget. Trying to do nicer things, and then it turns out that like there's nothing as nice as like I see in the movies. I'm not staying at like Tokyo Park Hyatt. I don't know. It is what it is. The Omni William Penn in Pittsburgh is like, the plumbing's a little worse, but like the rooms are a little nicer. Stuff's not quite as crooked. It's a little busier, so like the staff is more attentive and probably is a little bit better about cleaning and stuff like that. So the bellhops at Bedford Springs were amazing. So they actually have to ramp the luggage carts up and down steps. They have like ramps they set on the steps, but they have to ramp them up and down steps, and they are fast and they are efficient and they are good, and they get your stuff. Like, the guy had my car loaded before I could even get to the valet to say that, hey, the bellhop's coming down with our bags. He was already there, already had our car loaded with our stuff in it, like off of the hut, like just in the time it took us to walk down the hallway. It was crazy. So the bellhops were awesome. The food was good. Expensive, what you would expect to pay at an expensive hotel for food. Food was expensive. So travel portal, I consider that $250 free. So I consider that instead of getting 1 cent per point, I got 1.5 cent per point on that. Spent 60 some thousand points on a $900 spend. I'm happy with that. The Omni doesn't have transfer part, like they don't have points, right? You only get money from spending money at Omnis on that. Where was the other one I just looked at that was like that? City just had a partner that was similar. Nemacolin's part of that one, but there is no fully comped room. It's like you spend 40,000 points and you get 20% off the room, which still comes out like it comes out to like 0.6 cents per point on, or 0.4 cents per point on that. But then it's a 2-to-1 on the on city. So if you're using thank you points instead of just earning them on spend, then it came out to over 1 cent per point. It wasn't bad. It was like 1.2 cents per point or whatever, 3 to 2, or I don't remember what the transfer was and what the value was, but it came out to better than 1 cent per point. But you couldn't comp the whole thing. It was only like up to 20% off of the room. You know, it was like you book a $600 room, you get $200 off, $150 off, something like that, by spending your points. So you couldn't just transfer 100,000 points over and get a room. It just wasn't an option, and it sounded like other people were having the same issue. They just couldn't find availability, or the points costs were like outrageous. You know, stuff like that. But like the dollar cost is outrageous at those places too. So I'm happy with the return on. I'm happy with the redemption. Cost us nothing out of pocket except for food and gift shop and stuff like that. And we're working towards the Chase Sapphire Preferred sub for my P2. So, you know, I figure that's like also 20% back on spend for everything that we spent on the room there. Yeah, so there's no reason to use the card you booked the room with to pay for the stuff, like to put as the card on file for the, you know, for incidental charges. So if you're not aware, then you're living under a rock. Probably what I've seen is at least until May 12th, because that's when the referral bonuses say that they're good for. At least until May 12th, Chase Sapphire Preferred has 100,000 points on $5,000 spend. So as statement credit, that's $1,000. That's 20% back. As travel portal credit, that's 1.25 cents. So $1,250 of travel portal credit if you're just using the travel portal, and more if you transfer them out for better value. So, for example, I am going to book a Hyatt for 8,000 points for one night at the end of the month, just for a day trip out there that we have to do, and it's like $168 a night. So it's like just over 2 cents a point. If you're transferring out to valuable partners, or you're topping off, you know, let's say you have United points from flying for work, and you have 60,000 points and you need 72,000 points. Okay, maybe you're only getting 8-9 cents a point, but you already have the points, so it's better to transfer out the extra 10,000 than to pay for them, and then be spending 2 cents a point. So do that. Find somebody with a referral bonus. Work on a Chase Sapphire Preferred card if you're eligible. It's 48 months. It's 4 years between Sapphire card sign-up bonuses. Sapphire Reserved or Sapphire Preferred. Any Sapphire bonus, 4 years before you can sign up for another one. So I signed up for one last June. My wife signed up for one a couple weeks ago, and 100,000 Chase points is very valuable to me. So yeah, that's my travel update. Thanks for listening.